There was something wrong with tonight. You could feel it in the way the air hung heavy against the windows, as if even the weather was trying to press its face up to the glass and peek in. My name's Tyler, and on a normal night, this house would smell like frozen pizza, PlayStation controllers would be scattered on the coffee table, and my sister Gracie would be yelling for me to turn the volume down on whatever horror game I was losing. Instead, tonight there was only quiet and a weird taste in my mouth, like I'd chewed aluminum foil. I was pacing the living room in socks. I checked the lock on the front door again, then the deadbolt. I knew I already checked it, but my brain wouldn't let it go. My mom texted at 4:18 p.m. that she was staying late at work at the hospital. That was the last text I got. Gracie was at a friend's house for a study group. At least, that's what the group chat said. And my phone's group messages kept looping, repeating like the same lines copied and pasted from a book. You good? You good? You good? There was a police siren outside, and then nothing. Just my own heart, thumping. When I peeked out the blinds, the street was too empty. The same neighbor's car was parked sideways, half up on the curb, and someone's grocery bags were just left on the sidewalk. On my phone, Twitter said one thing, Reddit said another, and the news kept repeating the same 4 sentences. Do not leave your house tonight. Secure all windows and doors. Do not trust outside communication. Further instructions will follow. My dog Baxter whined from under the table, like he knew I was about to have a panic attack. The cable TV was down. Even my cheap radio from the garage was just static, except for a weird, high-pitched tone that made Baxter howl. And it was weird, because outside the window there was this military van, parked in front of the empty neighbor's house for almost an hour. The van didn't move, and nobody got out. I saw a smear of red on the sidewalk next to it, maybe spilled soda, maybe not, and for some reason it scared me more than anything else. My best friend, Caleb, who lives next door, usually FaceTimes me at night, especially when he's nervous. But his phone went straight to voicemail. I texted him, "Bro, you home?" and it just sat there. Delivered. I checked Instagram. Last post, an hour ago, his selfie with his mom. Baxter started barking at the back door. I jerked and dropped my phone, screen down. Baxter never barks at the back. He's scared of the dark out there. When I walked into the kitchen, I could see out the back window, and the porch light was on, swaying from a breeze that shouldn't have been there. In the backyard, someone was moving, but not really moving, more like shuffling. I thought it was maybe a neighbor, but then I realized it was Ms. Avery, the lady who always brings us banana bread. She was standing in the yard, staring at the house, not blinking, not moving. I almost called out to her, but the words stuck. I ducked down, heart hammering, and pulled Baxter close. My phone buzzed. It was an emergency alert. Big red banner. Emergency, do not leave your house tonight. Lock all doors, stay away from windows. And under that, in smaller text, one more line. This is not a drill. I tried to call my mom. All lines busy. I tried to text Gracie, but my hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped the phone again. Where are you? Are you okay? Send. No response. The house felt suddenly way too big and way too small. I went around, locking every window, pulling every shade, even taping some with duct tape, which I only ever used for fixing Xbox controllers before. I grabbed the baseball bat from the closet. Every noise outside sounded like footsteps. The van still didn't move. Baxter started whining again, and I realized the neighbor from across the street, Mr. Dixon, was now out front. He was waving. Or maybe not waving, maybe reaching, but his arm was moving wrong, like wrong in the way a marionette's arm moves when the strings are tangled. I stopped looking. I dragged Baxter to the hallway bathroom, the only room with no windows, and closed the door. I texted everyone again. I watched the group chat swirl and die. All those people, all those "you good" messages, and nobody answered. That's when the scratching started on the back door, and Baxter pressed so close to my legs I could feel his ribs. I wanted to call Caleb or my mom or literally anyone, but my phone just flashed "emergency only," like it was trying to taunt me. I sat in the dark, clutching Baxter and the bat, and prayed that whatever was wrong outside would just go away if I stayed put. But deep down I knew tonight wasn't just another night. Something was off. Something was already inside, and it was only just starting. The scratching at the back door didn't stop. It got worse, harder. Baxter let out this deep, terrified growl I'd never heard from him before, and it shook right through me. I told myself not to move, but I still crawled to the edge of the bathroom and pressed my ear to the hallway, just listening for footsteps or voices or anything normal. All I got was the soft buzz of the phone and the thick, sticky quiet of a house that knew something was wrong. After what felt like forever, the noise outside died away, but the tension got worse. I wanted to scream, to run out into the street and just get it over with, but my body wouldn't let me. I checked my phone again, still no word from Caleb. The emergency alert kept repeating the same lines, the same harsh beep every time. My hands were so sweaty that I almost dropped the phone again. Baxter kept pressing into my legs. I whispered that it was okay, but he didn't buy it, and neither did I. That's when my front door rattled. Not a knock, not a hand, like someone throwing their weight against it. I nearly pissed myself. I could see the vague outline of a head through the frosted window, and then it disappeared. Something scraped the wood. I grabbed the bat and backed into the hallway. My heart was thudding so hard it hurt. I heard feet dragging on the porch, slow and uneven. Another thump at the door. My teeth were chattering. Baxter was shaking, and I realized for the first time how much I hated being alone in that house. It all happened so fast. A window shattered, but not the front, the little one above the kitchen sink. Glass hit the floor. I heard something crawling inside. My legs moved before my brain could stop them. I sprinted down the hallway, yanked open the closet, and shoved myself and Baxter inside, knees banging against the vacuum. I heard footsteps in the kitchen. Not hurried, not even angry, just slow, careful, calculated. I could hear whoever or whatever it was moving through the kitchen, knocking things over. My mom's coffee mug smashed, a picture frame fell. I tried to call 911 again, but all I got was the same "all lines are busy, please hold." No one was coming. I thought about texting Caleb again, but what was the point? Baxter's nails clicked on the closet floor. I covered his snout to keep him from barking. Then, just as suddenly as it started, everything stopped. The footsteps, the breaking, silence. A door slammed somewhere in the house, but I couldn't tell if it was mine. That's when I smelled it. Not blood, not rust, but something sickly sweet and metallic, like rust and fruit left out in the sun. Then my phone vibrated. I looked down, expecting another emergency alert, but it was a message. "Gracie, help me." That was it. No location, no details. I tried calling, but her line was dead too. My brain was short-circuiting. Was she outside? Was she in trouble? Was this even her? My phone buzzed again. It was Caleb this time. "Don't answer the door." That's all he sent. I stared at the screen, feeling like my stomach was falling out of me. The next thing I knew, something was pounding on the closet door. Not knocking. Pounding. I nearly screamed. Baxter started howling, a high, desperate sound that made my ears ring. I pressed myself against the back of the closet and waited for the door to splinter. But nothing happened. Just another weird, dragging noise, and then silence again. That's when I decided. I couldn't stay here and just wait. I had to find Gracie. I had to find my mom. I shoved the door open, grabbed the bat, and dragged Baxter out with me. The house was wrecked. Cabinets open, drawers dumped out. There was blood on the kitchen counter, smeared in long, wet streaks. Something had been looking for me, and it was gone, or hiding. I peeked out the window. The military van was gone. In its place was an ambulance, lights spinning, but no one inside. The street was full of people, but they didn't look right. They moved too slow. Their faces were wrong. Their eyes didn't blink. Mr. Dixon was still out there, his arms swinging wild. Miss Avery was gone. I needed to move. I stuffed my pockets with protein bars, grabbed my mom's car keys, and yanked open the back door. The air outside was colder than it should have been, and every noise echoed down the empty street. Baxter stuck to my leg like glue. As we stepped off the porch, I saw something move in the shadow of the neighbor's house, something hunched and pale, crawling on all fours. I started running. Baxter bolted ahead of me. Something screamed from down the block, a real human scream, but I couldn't stop. I headed toward Caleb's house, my brain stuck on repeat. Don't answer the door. Don't answer the door. Don't answer the door. That's when I realized the world outside wasn't the one I knew anymore. The rules were gone. The faces in the street weren't my neighbors, not really. Whatever was happening, it wasn't about getting sick. It was about something else, something that could wear your face but wasn't you inside. I knew then nobody was coming to help, and there was nowhere left to hide. The last safe place is never as safe as you think. I ran with Baxter glued to my side, my hand cramping around the bat, past cars with doors open and groceries rotting on the seats, past neighbors who should have waved but just stared, eyes too glassy, arms too stiff. The night was thick, but every sound was sharp. A car alarm half dying somewhere. A woman's voice yelling something garbled from a window. The thud of feet behind me that I pretended not to hear. I just ran. The lights were out in Caleb's house except for a strip of blue coming from upstairs. I cut through the yard, almost tripped on a bike in the grass, and pounded on his back door with the flat of my hand. No answer. I banged again, harder. "Caleb!" My breath was shaky. I tried the handle. Locked. But the window to the mudroom was cracked open. I pulled it up, shoved Baxter through, and crawled in after. The air in the house was warm and smelled like dog and old pizza. I whispered his name. Upstairs, the blue light flickered, and I heard footsteps. Normal, not dragging, real footsteps. Relief hit me so hard I almost collapsed. Caleb's voice. "Tyler?" He was at the top of the stairs, holding his baseball bat like a weapon, his eyes huge and wild. He looked as bad as I felt. Behind him, his little brother Noah was wrapped in a blanket, clutching a Nerf gun. Caleb's mom was gone, but her keys were on the counter. He dragged me up, locked the door behind me. We didn't bother with hellos. "You got the same messages?" I nodded, shaking. He showed me his phone. Same alerts. Same texts from friends who'd all gone silent. Noah was crying but trying not to. We barricaded the doors, pushed furniture in front of the windows, turned off every light except a little flashlight we kept in the hallway. Baxter paced circles, growling at shadows. We tried to call our parents. Nothing. We tried to text Gracie, even tried the group chat, but nobody replied. Caleb looked at me, and I could see he was trying not to lose it for Noah's sake. We made plans, stupid ones. Should we run? Hide? Stay put and wait for help? But the outside noise kept getting worse. Someone was screaming for help down the street, and then the scream cut off sharp. Feet scraped the porch. We heard nails, or maybe fingers, raking across the siding. We shut up and waited. After a while, there was a crash in the kitchen. I wanted to go look, but Caleb wouldn't let me. "That's how people die in movies," he whispered, and I almost laughed except nothing was funny. Instead, we waited. Baxter growled. Then it was quiet. Too quiet. I kept checking the window for faces. The blue light from Caleb's computer flickered over us, making everyone look sick. I remember Noah whispering, "Are they still people?" And Caleb just shook his head. I didn't have an answer. All I could think was that whatever was outside, it wasn't just sick. It was wrong. Like something got inside their heads and used their faces as masks. Every now and then, someone would walk up to the porch, stare at the door, and keep moving. Some would pound, then shuffle away. We were losing it. I was losing it. I almost started laughing for no reason. My phone buzzed, and I jumped so hard I dropped it. A text. "Gracie, again. In the church. Don't let them see you. They remember." That's all. Noah started crying harder, and Caleb lost his cool for a second, cussing and punching the wall. We knew we couldn't stay here. The neighborhood was filling up with people who weren't people anymore. The banging on the porch came back, louder this time. Baxter barked, and that set them off. A dozen hands pounding at the walls, fingernails scraping glass. Caleb yelled, "Get away!" And I realized too late that making noise was a mistake. The back door smashed in. We ran. Caleb shoved Noah ahead of him. I dragged Baxter by the collar, and we barreled out the garage. We made it to the alley, but I heard glass shatter, heard something, following. I didn't look back. We kept moving, sticking to shadows, ducking behind cars, while the whole neighborhood came alive with voices that sounded almost real, but weren't. We headed for the church because that's what Gracie said. I didn't care if it was a trap. It was the only place left. My legs were jelly, my lungs burning, Baxter whimpering but still running. The church doors were open. Inside it was dark and smelled like old wood and sweat and fear. There were people, but not too many. I saw Gracie in the corner, her face pale and eyes wide. She hugged me so hard I almost cried. For a second, I thought we were safe. But outside, the noises were getting closer, and the look on Gracie's face said everything. Whatever was hunting us wasn't done, and now that we were all together, we were just easier to find.